Blast me to Electia! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, issue 48. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So this is the series where you and I take the journey through the Imperium Partworks by Hachette. And today we are looking at issue 48. And on the front cover we have a bit of a spoiler what's inside. We learn about the Dark Angels chapter, the secrets of the Apothecarian, and we have the Act of Faith rules for our Sisters of Battle faction. And we also get 2 miniatures, which is our 4th and final ruins. So we'll take a quick look at the frame, then we'll go through the magazine. And I've got a little bit of a bonus before we go into the mission. I'm going to be covering something that is still dear to my heart. It's the original Act of Faith rules and what I consider to be the superior Act of Faith rules. So without further ado, let's look inside this magazine, look at our models, and then we can get on to our rules and our mission. So here we have our frame, and this is the same frame we got in issue 34, I believe it was, the first of our set of ruins. And it has the double flooring, the longer side wall here, and the short side wall here with the battered in doorway. Got our smaller wall there, and the Cog Mechanicum symbol. As you can see, we got nice lot of detail. We got the fan, all the wires, vents. And we can see all the different pipes and wires underneath all the flooring there. Just looks really good. Nice lot of detail. Control switch there. Flip it over. We have, again, loads more detail. We've got plenty of exposed pipes and wires. A more intact control panel there. Extractor fans. Speakers. And a good old 3-point wall socket there, still in use 10,000 years from today. Then we have the reverse side of the door, it's all buckled in. Even the locking mechanism is buckled in and broken. Damage control panel there with a battery pack section. Yeah. Like I said in my unboxing, last video, I won't be painting this for a while, as the company I'm getting my red spray paint from won't be able to ship it out for at least 2 weeks. So hopefully by the time we come to getting my next issue, 49, we should have the red paint, and I should be able to hopefully get this painted up for the big mega battle. If not, I'll still have these 3 sets of ruins that we already have. I could always borrow the ones when I get started, I suppose. But let's move on to the magazine. And here we have issue 48. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, we get 2 miniatures, which is our last 2 ruins. Learn about Dark Angels, the Apothecary detachment area of the chapter. And we get our rules for the Acts of Faith. So, full contents of the issue. We got our battle roster for our Sisters of Battle forces. So Dark Angels, Apothecarian. We learn about the Imperial Creed, and we have a force blurb about the Penitent. Building and painting our Factorum, Acts of Faith rules, and we got a new mission, of course. So here is my Adaptus Sororitas mission roster. So the Orders Militant of the Adaptus Sororitas are rigidly ordered fighting forces outfitted and organised for deployment at a moment's notice. Small groups of sisters, known as missions, are often tasked defending shrines, basilicas, and other holy sites. So this is much like we've had for the Space Marines and the Deus Mechanicus and the Necrons. It's a place to gather all the information of your force in one place. So we get to name our force, and in my case I've got the Golden Host. Again, it's a D6 chart, and you get a good choice of variety of words and titles. So you can either choose ones you prefer the best, or just do like I did and roll. So on the back, I've managed to actually record all the data for my units. As of this delivery, we've got all the battle records for every unit in the Sisters Battle Force. So we have my Canoness, which is Mariah Desia, my Battle Sister Squad, the Heralds of Wrath, my Seraphim Squad, the Angels of Death, my Sister Repentia Superior, Mina Pyre. My Squad of Repentia is called Perdition's Grace, my Archiflagellants are the Violent Absolvers, and my Penitent engine is Vidka. So that's that. So moving on, we've got our first bit of lore for, well, not first bit of lore for this issue anyway, shall I say. We got the background on the Dark Angels chapter. So the Dark Angels, the Sons of the Lion, are the first of the Emperor's Space Marine legions. The Dark Angels continue to profess loyalty to the Imperium mankind. However, they harbour many dark secrets, and their actions often seem at odds with the orders and objectives of their allies. So this goes on to give you the background for what the Dark Angels. So they are the first legion. They are amongst one of the most storied chapters, led by the Primarch Lionel Johnson of old during the Heresy. He now sleeps in the decimated remains of the planet Caliban, known as the Rock. During the Heresy, they had their own little bit of a civil war, where Luther, the Primarch's most trusted lieutenant and second in command, led the Dark Angels on Caliban in a revolt against the Dark Angels that were away. And it has resulted in the destruction of Caliban. And they managed to retrofit it with rock engines and turn it into a mobile fortress called the Rock. It is currently, I believe, in the Imperium Nihilus, and there's a big rumour for 10th edition to be focusing on Angels of Death, which is the old-fashioned codex that used a combination of Blood Angels and Dark Angels units to form the, as known, the Angels of Death, as it is the 2 angel chapters. So it'd be quite nice if that does come true. On the back, we have the rules of the Fallen. So the Fallen are the renegades who were aligned with Luther. The most notable of all the Fallen, who has evaded capture but has come into his own a little bit lately, is Cypher. He's 10,000 years old. He was around at the time of the Heresy. Spoiler alert, if you haven't heard the story Grey Angel by James Swallow, I think it is. It's a short story featuring the Knights Errant, in this case Garviel Loken and Yakdon Cruz, and they are actually tasked by Malcador to go to Caliban and find out whether the Dark Angels on Caliban are loyal. Throughout the story, they actually meet with Luther, and at the end they meet with a bloke called Cypher, who helps. We don't know it's Cypher, but we get the depiction of the skeleton on his chest plate, which is very obviously Cypher's. But he helps him escape Caliban, and due to that, he has lost his chance, as he says, at forgiveness. So, what everyone's been theorizing for a long time is that Cypher is trying to earn his forgiveness by making it so that events in the current timeline plan out and return to how the galaxy should have stayed. He has been seen all over time and space, and he carries with him Lionel Johnson's own personal sword, the Lion Sword. And there's a big theory that he is trying to hopefully revive the Primarch and bring him back to the world and reunite the chapter as a whole. The Dark Angels also have two specific factions. They have the Raven Wing, which is a full company numbering over the 100 standard Marines, and they are adorned all in black and are the fast attack division. So they basically ride bikes, land speeders, fighter craft, etc. And then we have the Death Wing, who are the Hunters of the Fallen, the elite bone armored Terminators. They form the inner circle of the chapter, which holds the most deepest, darkest secrets of the chapter. And it's the Wraith Wing's job to locate the Fallen and put in a tracker for the Death Wing to come in and capture the Fallen. Whew, that was a lot. Moving on, we have a bit of background on the Space Marines Apothecarian. So the Apothecarian is a Space Marine chapter's most vital facility. Stored within its depths is the chapter's supply of precious gene seeds, without which new Space Marines cannot be forged to replace their fallen brothers. So the Apothecarian is manned by the apothecaries and their trainees and servitors and serfs to help in the basic medical care of Space Marines. So if you have a Space Marine injured in battle, it's the apothecary's job to try and restore them to battlefield readiness, even if it means replacing lost limbs, regrowing organs, etc. On the back, we've got a bit about the apothecary's war gear. So we've got the Prime Helix, which is the symbol of the medical order that the apothecaries belong to. Got their war gear with a power pack, which has various different tools, lights, etc. on the back. And an Arfesium, which has tools to tear through a Space Marine's armor to reach the precious gene seed within, especially mainly for when a Space Marine falls in battle. It also has the ability to inject stimulants to help with the healing process of Space Marines. Moving on, we got a bit of Sisters of Battle information. So this is expanding the previous few pages we've had. This focuses more on the Imperial Creed. So the Imperial Creed guides the actions of mankind, ensuring their loyalty and devotion to the Emperor and binding the Imperium's worlds together in shared faith. Those who transgress against the faith are apostate and heretic, enemies of mankind to be exterminated. So this goes into detail about the Imperial Creed, the ecclesiarchy overseeing the realm of mankind, and ensuring that the Imperial Creed is kept to by all the different followers. We've got the Imperial Cult, so him on the Golden Throne, or the Emperor. Then we got the arm of the Adeptus Sororitas and the Adeptus Ministorum. And our final bit of lore is forces all about the Penitent. So the Imperial Creed is the unifying force that binds humanity together. Those that transgress against the faith are shown little in the way of mercy. The scant few judged worthy of redemption must earn it in the fires of battle, throwing themselves into the fray without regard to their own safety. Excuse me. The majority of these penitents will find peace only in death. So it goes into a bit more background about what happens to those who are deemed possibly able to be saved. Also goes a bit more about the Imperium being assailed on all sides by Xenos, heretics, and creatures of warp. How it suffered through the ages of the heresy and apostasy. And start to go into a bit of background about the different units. So while most are fitted to Penitent engines or turned into Archoflagellants, Battle Sisters who fail in duty and are deemed not fit for the Sisters Repentia may be sealed into a mortar fire, which is like a Penitent engine, but it's got a sarcophagus which is sealed and bolted with chains and padlocks, where the sister drives the engine of the machine onto insane acts. And on the back we have the different types of the Penitents. So the Sisters of Repentia, Battle Sisters who have their armour stripped, given massive eviscerators, and are thrust into the enemy by the Repentia Superior. We have the Archiflagellants, who are mostly criminals. They have their minds wiped and plugged into various different cybernetic tools, flails, buzzsaws in some cases. And they're given masks where they are forced to watch holy orders to pacify them. Pacify Helm, which will fill the mind with sacred images, keep them calm, but can be deactivated and they turn into berserker killing machines. Then we have the Penitent engines and the mortifiers, so piloted by heretics, hardwired into the machines, armed with flamers and massive buzzsaws. Moving on then, we just have our build guide. So, 2 halves of the main building pushed together. The Cog Mechanicum symbol pushed into place. Then our 2 flooring sections are slotted in. Then the smaller wall is just the 2 halves pushed together. And we're painting our Factorum, so much like the same. White, red, all over wash with known oil. Black, dry brush white. Picking out the silver with lead belcher, eye with corn red, then washing all those details, then dry brushing the floors and highlighting various areas with Stormhose silver. There we have our finished Factorums, looking quite nice. Right, we have one piece of rules before we move on to this issue's mission. So this is the Acts of Faith. So in addition to their Ceramite armour and deadly weapons, the Sororitas rely upon the strength of their faith to deliver victory for the Imperium. The Acts of Faith ability represents the power of the faith, allowing Sisters units to perform miraculous actions upon the battlefield. So what this is a game mechanic where we gain a special pool of dice called Miracle Dice. So you gain them at the start of your turn, the start of each battle round, so yours and your opponent's, you gain a single dice. At the end of a phase in which any of the following conditions are met, you also gain a dice. So at the end of a phase in which a Sororitas unit has wiped out an enemy unit, you gain 1 dice. And any Adeptus Sororitas character units that has been destroyed, you gain 1 dice. These dice are rolled, and I haven't got dice nearby to show you, but you roll a dice, and what you get is, the result you get is added to the pool. So if you roll a dice, you get a free, that stays as a free. Then, an Act of Faith is performed by taking 1 dice from that pool, and instead of rolling, that dice can count as an automatic result equal to the result on its facing. So if you've got a dice pool of 3 dice and you want a charge of a unit, and say you've got a 5 or a 6, which is shown on the back of this page, you can instead opt not to roll your dice, but take 2 of those dice from your miracle pool, and you got your dice roll of 11. So it is basically a reroll mechanic. So advanced rolls, charge rolls, hits, wounds, saving throws, damage, and morale tests can all be re-rolled with an Act of Faith dice. So on the back, we got an example here. So we've got a pool containing a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 2. The Repentia want to charge the Overlord, who is 11 inches away. So instead of rolling both their charge dice as normal, the player has elected to take the 6 and the 5 from their pool and count that as a charge roll, so they make it in. Good way to keep record of what you have, if you don't keep your dice separate, is to have a little tick chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then tally off what you have. And if you're using a pencil, you can just simply roll out or a pen, just cross out which ones you have used. But as I mentioned at the start, this Act of Faithfuls are okay, but to me, the superior Act of Faithfuls came from Codex Witchhunters. This was the first time the Sisters of Battle had a physical codex. Before this, they were... no, they did have one before this. They had an old 3rd edition. This is the 4th edition codex. I think they had an old 3rd edition one with the Canoness Viridian John Blanche artwork on the front cover. But before that, they had just a few units in a White Dwarf. But this one gave us some nice background. It introduced Inquisitors. There was the Demon Hunters book, which featured Grey Knights. There was going to be a Xenos Hunters book featuring Deathwatch, but that didn't get to see the light of day. But the Acts of Faithfuls from back here, back in the day, pretty much, as long as you included a unit of Sisters of Battle in your army, you gained faith points. Faith points depending on the types of units and how many of that unit you take. So, for example, if we look at characters, so if you took a Battle Sister character, the Canoness would give you 2 faith points, while a Palatine would give you a single faith point. Some units would count as faithful regardless of characters, so the Celestians are always faithful and add 1 to your faith points. Same apply to Seraphim, they're always considered faithful. Battle Sisters are only faithful if you upgrade 1 to be a Sister Superior, which gives you 1 faith point, and so on and so forth. You have that pool of dice, and that's the dice you have for the entire game. You reduce the pool by 1, and then you take a roll 2d6, and depending on the Act of Faith you want to do, you have to either roll under, equal, or over the squad in question that's trying to do for the Act of Faith. And the Act of Faith could be done by any of the different Sisters of Battle units, but only Sisters of Battle units. And they had a good variety of different things. So we had Hand of the Emperor. So if you roll equal to or under the models in the unit, each model in the unit adds 2 to its strength, but strikes at initiative 1. Divine Guidance, under the current number of models in the unit. Any rolls of 6 count as AP1. AP1 was the best AP you could get in the olden days. And they also count as being made by a power weapon. They have the Passion, so over the number of models in the unit, so this would be ideal for a small bodyguard squad. Adds 2 to its initiative at the beginning of either assault phase, may not be used and can same phase as the Hand of the Emperor ability, and does not override for Eviscerators. So gives you an extra bit of initiative, make you strike before your opponent. Light of the Emperor, so over the current number of squads, beginning of the phase, unit becomes fearless. Automatically passing morale and pinning tests. Unit that's falling back can automatically regroup. Then we have Spirit of Martyr, so this one is equal to or over the current number of models in the unit. Roll at the beginning of the phase, the unit gains an invulnerable save equal to their armor save. So I think these were far superior to what we do have now. I mean, it's nice to have rerolls that aren't going to cost you command points. But back then you had far larger access to a better dice pool. You had better bonuses that you could get. And of course, if faithful characters die, they automatically give you back an additional faith point. And basically, so it goes into more detail about the faith point, the pool, who can use the faith points, and how to test for them. but I think this was pretty good. Army is a good army list and a good way of working out your faith points as well. And look at some of the classic sister models. People moan about the Penitent engine we get in issue 49, but they have no idea how bad it was to build the old metal one and balance it. Ugh, that was a nightmare. But we had some wonderful character models. Gideon Law, who is a White Dwarf character, a special character. I have that model. He's quite nice. Then we have some of the classic metal Sisters of Battle. The new plastic ones really really do look a lot better, but these had such character back in the day. And the old classic plastic kits. Conversion guide, paint guide for Inquisitors, different orders, paint guides for your Battle Sisters, and so on and so forth. Yeah, those old codexes were something really special. But this video is going to be pretty long as it is, so I think we'll move on to our mission, Cryptek Machinations. So here we have our battlefield all set up and deployed. We have a single objective at the centre of the battlefield, and it's whoever gets the most points wins. So the sisters deploy over here as the defenders, while the Necrons are over here as the attackers. I've elected to put the Seraphim in their Deep Strike, same for the Flayed ones, just to see if that helps change things compared to my last mission. But it's all about controlling the centre of the field, and hopefully eliminating that messy little Cryptek. Excuse me. So here we go. Cryptek Machinations. An arc manipulator of time itself, the Chronomancer seeks to use its mastery of techno-sorcery to infiltrate the Imperium's defensive positions and sabotage targets of opportunity. With the aid of its lesser Necron kin, the Cryptek seeks to sabotage the city's plasma networks, sowing enough destruction and bloodshed to summon the dreaded Flayed Ones into reality. The Canoness and her battle sisters must prevent the Chronomancer from achieving its goals. Necrons, Chronomancer, wholesale slaughter. If the Chronomancer's plans come to fruition, and its forces are able to sabotage the plasma array, the resultant explosion will certainly kill dozens, if not hundreds. Bloodshed on this scale should be enough to coax the Flayed Ones from their extra-dimensional realm and unleash them upon the Imperial defenders. Adepta Sororitas, Canoness, defending the faithful. The Canoness and her sisters have tracked the Chronomancer's movements and confronted the Cryptek's forces in the vicinity of the plasma array. The sisters must secure the area and prevent the Necrons from sabotaging the facility and causing more deaths among the dwindling human populace. So, here we go. First turn. The sisters steal it by 1. So, turn 1 it is then. End of turn 1, and no one scored any points. But things haven't gone too good either. Sisters of Battle didn't get any hits for shooting. The Warriors managed to eliminate the Arco-Flagellant, but the Repentia managed to dodge the Gauze Blaster from the Royal Warden there. So hopefully that might be a little bit of blood for the Necrons, Flayed Ones allies to come in. I've got 2 faith dice so far, both of which are 5s, and I think I might be using those for a charge roll for my Repentia. But before that, it's time for turn 2. And we've got some angelic reinforcements to come in. Oh, and a turn 2, and things definitely swung in our favour. We've killed 2 warriors, and a successful charge from the Repentia saw the death of the Royal Warden in the Necron turn 2. Necrons, though, have spilt enough blood to attract the attentions of the Flayed Ones, who are down just off camera. They wiped out the Seraphim, who came in and did charge the Chronomancer, but didn't do too well on their attack rolls. So it's down to the Canoness, the Repentia, and the Battle Sisters to try and hold out. We did score 1 objective point at the end of our turn. So now it's on to turn 3. And let's see if we can keep those Necrons on the back foot. End of turn 3. Oh, sorry, I ain't even played Necron turn 3. Be right back. Right, yes, done Necron turn 3 now. So for the Sisters of Battle, the Repentia moved up, Plasma Pistol the last warrior to death. I then expended a 5 and a 6 for the Repentia to charge up the building to the Chronomancer, but she didn't manage to hold him up. She passed her 5 up to ignore the wound she took from his Aeon Stave, but she died from tendrils. Ouch, poor girl. The Necron turn though, the flayed ones moved up and made their 9-inch charge into the Canoness, putting 2 extra wounds on her from the 1 wound the Chronomancer managed to put on for shooting. But she killed 1 in return. End of turn 3, their turn 3, the Sisters scored an additional point, so they are now 2-1. I don't think there's a lot the Necrons can do to actually try and hope to win. But either way, we got turn 4 coming up. So let's just see how that goes. Ooh, knocked my camera. Turn 4 was pretty quick. We shot at the Chronomancer, but he managed to block those attacks of the bolters, so we charged into the flayed one and killed it before it could do anything against our Canoness. Necron's turn, he got 2 shots with his Aeon Stave, but fluffed both of them. So the Sisters have moved up to another victory point, and really we just have to sit there and we win. So I won't play turn 5, we'll get on and award that extra victory point to the Sisters. And we will have a look at what's in our next Imperium. So 49 is the one I've been looking forward to. It is our new Adeptus Sororitas reinforcements. So we get 2 squad leaders, Sister Superior and Seraphim Superior. 2 Battle Sisters with a Stormbolt, one of a Stormbolter, one of a Flamer. A Battle Sister with Simulacrum. Repentia Mistress, 2 Repentia, Archoflagellant, and the monstrous Penitent engine. Then issue 50 is the big one for the Necrons. We get the Royal Court. So this is a £70 set, I believe, from Games Workshop. But you're getting it for $8.99. You get a Reanimator, which helps your Necron Warriors survive a bit better. Plasmancer deals out mortal wounds. Crypto Thralls protect all your different types of Mancers. So they are nice little bodyguards, gives them an extra wound each. And then we get the brutal and monstrous Scorpek Lord. Boy, he's going to be fun to paint. I painted one when Indomitus came out 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. Maybe 2, I can't remember, a long time, it was a while ago anyway. Painted one up, and I've definitely improved my paint game since I've done him. And it'd be nice to paint him in my different schemes, so he'll look a little more like my Royal Warden there, so he'll have the green, mostly silver, little bits of gold. My current one is, excuse me, mostly silver with white and gold, because I was doing it to match up with Nemazor Zandrak at the time. But that's it for the future. Oh, I forgot to say what we learn. So no new fluff. We get new models, new rules, and our biggest mission with 3 battle mats. So that's definitely going to be a job for on the floor. In the Royal Court, we get the different matriarchs of the Sisters Battle, and we get a data sheet for this guy only, because we don't actually use these until 51. So I will see you then for 49. It's going to be a big bumper issue. There's a chance I may do the first part, the build guide for them this week, so possibly Friday looking at, and then I can do the battle report paint them up over the weekend and do the battle report early next week and get it up for hopefully Wednesday next week. But yes, there's that. I am expecting some parcels, hopefully within the next week or so. I'm expecting 2 Star Wars Legion Battle Forces, and I'm yet to find out what's happening about my Masters of the Universe Battlegrounds. I'm still waiting, I think, for the supply for new stock to come in from the supplier, so that might be a while yet. But there are a few videos coming up, and like I said, I will do a video possibly next week, maybe the week after, where I talk about my future projects, so you are all in the know. But if you do want to know anything else, do check my social media feeds, my Buy Me a Coffee page, where I will be sharing plenty of new hobby material. All that's left for me to do then is to thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit that like button so that we get the videos pushed about on YouTube. Share it with your social media groups if you have any. And also don't forget to leave a comment in the description, in the comment section down below. So then, I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.